The Editor-in-Chief is live in 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Okay, welcome to the program. I'm Duncan, Garner, and this is Editor-in-Chief Live. Great to have you company this morning, 0800 863 293. Let me hear from you. Are you prepared to boycott certain petrol stations who should have reduced petrol prices earlier? We'll look at this. Also, will farmers ever pay for their carbon emissions? Christopher Luxon produces the biggest get-out-of-jail-free card ever for our farmers. That'll assure him hero status, won't it, at the Fieldays? So we'll cross live there. How much should you pay for a pie? Should pie prices be kept at $5? We're live across social media. We're on Rover as well, YouTube, TikTok, Twitch and Facebook. Leave us a comment. Get involved and have your say. It's news time right now. Here's MediaWorks Deputy News Editor Grace Cocker. Very good morning.
A former detective is impressed with the amount of money being stumped up in the missing Marakopa children case. Tom Phillips ran off with his 3 kids more than 2.5 years ago. Lance Burdett says the police reward will be enticing.
$80,000 in today's world is a good substantial amount of money for many, many people, and so it might just be that tipping point.
Police remain at the scene of a homicide in the West Auckland suburb of Massey. A 43-year-old man has been arrested over the alleged murder of a woman on Sunday. He'll appear in court today. Auckland petrol stations are being put on notice. The Commerce Commission has revealed gas stations are quick to hike prices, but not so quick to bring them down. Commissioner Brian Chappell says the removal of the regional fuel tax needs to be passed on, or it could cost residents millions.
We'll be reporting on it once it's been removed. I think they know that they're going to need to reduce prices.
Leaked messages from the military leader of Hamas have offered a rare glimpse into his mindset. Yahya Sinwar believes he has gained the upper hand over Israel. CNN's Ben Wiedemann has more.
Sinwar also apparently described civilian casualties, which are now more than 37,000. He said that was a necessary sacrifice.
Hunter Biden's been convicted of lying about his drug use to illegally buy a gun. It's the first time the child of a sitting US president has been found guilty of a crime. And sticking with the Bidens, Joe has sparked fresh concerns about his health after seemingly slurring his words in a recent speech.
She knows so long as she was denied, our freedom can never be secured.
In sport, Shaun Johnson's back for the Warriors after a month out with a pec injury. Coach Andrew Webster's chucked him straight back in at halfback for Saturday's NRL clash with the Storm at Mount Smart.
It was unbelievable at times at the start of the year. I think it was only through him playing injured that we didn't see his best football.
And Pakistan's kept their hopes of progressing to the Super 8 stage at the T20 World Cup alive. Following defeats to India and the USA, they've beaten Canada in New York by 7 wickets. And that's news in sport.
Okay, Grace. Biden. Give me more Biden.
Do I hear it again?
Go, play it again. She knows so long as she was denied, our freedom can never be secured.
And just before this as well, for more context, he kind of froze. And in the video, you see him just standing there for 30 seconds, blank look on face, while all these dancers were around him because there was something happening at the White House, an event. And he sort of did, what was that speaker that also did the same thing? Well, he had the Republican Party last year and had that almost, he was having a...
This guy's in charge of the world.
I mean, it's that or Donald. We've got that. We've got Donald coming up, Biden's son, the convicted felon too. It's a bit of a mess in the US right now.
Yeah, it is. Oh, maybe we're looking good here. Good morning, folks.
Garner.
Okay, nice to have your company. Dave said to me, made it on time, finally. I'm finally here. Good on you, Dave. Appreciate that, mate. And also out of, I think it must be Hamilton, Caterpillar. Marty said to me, Duncan, Fieldays traffic is very slow. So watch out for that. Fieldays traffic is slow. So, of course it is. James has said to us, Duncan, I haven't filled up at a BP station in decades and I never will. I mean, I have, and probably regret it because I pay too much.
Duncan Garner.
Okay, so it's not the banks, it is the supermarkets, and when it's those two, let's throw in another to screw us over, and let's let them do us over in a cost of living crisis. I'm now talking petrol. And if you feel like you're getting ripped off at the petrol pump, then I can confirm your feeling is spot on. And I don't know about you, but are you sick of getting screwed over? Here's the sucker punch. New research confirms petrol retailers are quick to put prices up when crude is costly, but reluctant and slow to drop them when global oil prices fall. And that leaves you, the motorist, out of pocket. The Commerce Commission investigated and found that if the fuel companies had dropped prices as fast as they increased them when costs changed, motorists would gain about $15 million a year. Not all retailers are the same. Waitomo Petrol offers a no-frills operation. Self-serve petrol stations without the cafes, the toilets, the steak and cheese and the staff. Low overheads means cheaper prices to the consumer. And they provide much-needed competition and a part of the solution, I reckon. So can we organise a boycott today? Who'd get into that? Waitomo CEO Simon Parham joins us now. Simon, I see you nodding away. You'd organise the boycott. You'd be happy to organise that. How much?
100%.
Hey, good on you, mate. How much have New Zealanders been ripped off here?
Look, I can't speak for what competitors do or activity out there in the market. I can sort of just speak for ourselves, and we're a little bit different to the majors. We get a weekly price, so we make those decisions on a weekly basis. But then throughout the week, if we have to be more competitive, we drop our prices. I think what this is really about, and you touched on your news headlines, is raising awareness ahead of the Auckland fuel tax removal that's coming up at the end of this month.
Yeah, so that's interesting you say that, because that comes off, so that's 10 cents, isn't it?
Yeah, it's like 10 cents, so 11.5 cents including GST, comes off midnight 30th of June, so end of this month.
Okay, now do we expect to see prices just drop 11.5 cents, or are you telling us watch the space, they won't drop?
No, they 100% should. You know, it's pretty binary. The tax is there or it isn't, right? So they should be coming off at 1 minute past midnight. That's certainly what we're going to be doing. So look, we can't wait to get rid of it. We thought it was a pretty poorly thought out policy and tax in the first place. It just created complexity for a lot of our customers and for us. So we just can't wait to get rid of it.
Yeah, no, and good on you too. And let's hope New Zealanders support you for that. Where are you guys around the country? There's not enough of you. That's the issue, isn't there?
Yeah, well, we're growing. We're really growing. We're hi-viz furthest site we've got, and then we're down to Gore in the South Island. But we've got 23 sites in the pipeline, and so that's really we're going to start delivering competition all over the place as much as we can. I think what came out of the ComCom report in April was that unattended sites like Waitomo, not only do they drop fuel prices when they open in a market, but they keep fuel prices low. So that's probably the most important bit here. And I think when I look at the Com reports yesterday, it's $15 million. I know that we've delivered that 4 or 5 times in all the markets that we operate at, day in, day out, every year. So, you know, we're pretty confident where we are.
Yeah, I reckon that you make a really crucial point there. Where you are, that puts pressure on the others. If you're not there, then it's almost like they can get away with it. So that's why if you have 23 sites in the pipeline, fantastic. We need more of you. How many in the South Island have you got?
Currently, we've got about, you test me as 7,
yeah.
But there's quite a few coming in the South Island this year and next year.
So why can you offer cheaper petrol, and why can't the others match you?
Well, yeah, so we're low overheads. We try to keep it. We just try to do things smarter. And I was listening to a bit of the rhetoric yesterday around this fuel tax, and you know, I heard people say we've got teams of people working on it to make sure we're ready for the 1st of July. And like, I don't know. To me, I don't want to sort of grossly over-exaggerate it, but it's essentially changing something in the pricing component from 10 to 0. So, you know, maybe we just do things smarter, and that's probably how we keep our overheads low, is that we're not spending just, you know, heaps of money on lots of people doing, you know, unintelligent stuff.
I heard that too. We've got teams of people working on this. How many teams do you need to drop the price 10 cents? I mean, for goodness sake, whatever that digital sign at the front says, drop time minus 10 cents, do it. And how hard is it?
Not hard. It's not hard at all. So we're obviously going to make sure it happens, and we make sure it stays off. So, you know, we're all over it, and you know, like I said, we just can't wait to get rid of it.
I wonder about those other places, because it seems like daylight robbery to me. $12 for a pound of butter. You know, look, I know that's where you shouldn't do groceries, and I've been caught short every now and then, so I picked up a couple of things. But their margins are massive on those everyday items, so they must be making heaps.
Yeah, and I guess that's another part where we operate in the market, right? We essentially only sell 3 products, 91, 95 and diesel. So we can't hide behind pies, nicotine, caffeine and sugar, right? We're there, pretty transparent. And if we're not on the market, we're out of it, because our customers are hyper price sensitive. So that's what we try to do every day, is just be the most competitive we can in the markets we operate.
With pricing, how come, say, in Avondale I can get petrol, let's say $2.90, and then I go through to New Linen and it's $3.10, and then I go through to Herne Bay and it's $3.30? What I don't understand.
Yeah, competition. You know, where there's a low cost operator like us, we actually essentially act as a price sink. So people, you know, drop to match us. And that's how we bring those prices down consistently in the market. So, you know, in a cost of living crisis at the moment, you know, that's where people have to go and look for deals, look for the value that is out there, because they are out there. Don't get sort of fleeced or hoodwinked by the so-called promotions and the bait advertising that's out there. just look for your net price, and that's the true test of competitiveness.
Yeah. Are there enough sites available for you to? I mean, you want to have world domination, okay? I'm sure that's your goal.
Yeah.
So let's get New Zealand domination first. How do you do that when it's all landlocked anyway? It's all about land, isn't it? Then the sites are all taken, aren't they? Or are they not?
Yeah, but no, not really. There's always opportunities. There's roading changes, population growth. That equals opportunity, and so we're continuously, low cost operator. We're Jimmy, our owner, and myself. We're constantly scouring Trade Me for properties. We've got people out there looking. So like I said, we've got 23 sites in the pipeline. There's going to be more that coming over the next couple of years. So we are looking to ultimately disrupt and be the dominant first choice for Kiwis in New Zealand. When do you reckon you can get to that mass, that sort of critical mass where New Zealanders can actually go out the front door and know that you're not far away? Yeah, I think we're close, right? I think from a commercial side, we've almost reached that minimum credible network where we can deliver to the commercial customers, and then having sites in each of the main centres so that people can choose to come to Waitomo. Like, we won't have sites on every corner, but we'll make sure they're represented so that we can offer competitive prices to those looking at in each market. You can always chuck a portaloo out the back too if people want to go for, What do you reckon? Well, they can, yeah. Or they can just go home. Okay, mate. Hey, I appreciate your time on the program. Well done and all the very best.
Garner.
Thanks.
Okay, 0800 863 293. Do you use Waitomo? Have you been to Waitomo? What's the chances? And what did you make of them? What do you make of them? I reckon go for it. Go for it. Boycott the big boys. If they're screwing us, then why hang around? Duncan Cameron says, I don't use diesel, but it was interesting to see prices dropping down. The last I saw was $1.80 a litre at New World in Te Rapa. Careful you guys don't start slurring like Biden. Just the same, his thoughts are still what counts, I suppose, says Tim. Thank you, Tim. Appreciate that. 0800 863 293. The construction industry faces many challenges, but one we don't often hear about is the mental health of its workers, and this is a real issue. The sector has the highest suicide rate of any sector in New Zealand, which, of course, is tragic. And part of the reason behind this is the fact that the mainly male workforce are reluctant to talk about their feelings, good or bad. Come on, man, we're going to need to man up on this. And right now, the sector is doing it tough. A lot of development's gone on hold. Jobs have gone. So when site manager Alan Farragher witnessed the struggle, he decided to do something about it and launched a fancy pants workwear brand aimed at starting conversations on the worksite, breaking down barriers, you see. Now, I can imagine Forrester wearing this sort of thing while on the tools. And they're not your standard hi-viz. For those watching this, you'll see why. If you're listening, maybe now is the time to click on the YouTube camera, because you won't have seen anything like this on a construction site before. 50% of any profit he makes will go to mental health charities as well. GC already. Alan joins me now. G'day, nice to have you on the program.
Thanks for having me.
So you've got the hi-viz with the fancy materials. Just come forward a little bit as well. Yep. You've got the fancy material on there as well, so nice collar and different sort of colours. What was the thinking behind it?
So it's basically just a conversation starter. So the patterns and the colours themselves are picked to pique people's interest to ask what they're about. Yeah, and sort of break down barriers. Yeah, it is. It's just about opening the door to a conversation, basically, and talking about mental health.
What did you see on the work side? What have you seen that forced you to do this?
Well, throughout the 20 years, which is a scary number for me, but 20 years that I've been in construction, I've been part of companies where we've lost people. I've been part of companies that we have got guys that have got to that point where they didn't see any return. And once I had my own kids, it kind of sparked me to look at trying to create a better future for them. Generally, your kids follow in the footsteps of their fathers, follow the same career paths. I've got 3 boys. And I wanted to create a future if they wanted to follow the career path that I was in, they didn't have to jeopardise their mental health. Why is the mental health of the workers in the construction industry so vulnerable? Why is it so tenuous? I think it is just about opening up and having conversations, but it's the work that we do. So the work we do is physically demanding. There's a lot of stress. It's high stress. There's really tight time frames, low margins currently. So there's no room for error. So people are almost afraid to speak up because it makes them seem as if they're incapable of doing the job. Yeah, incapable and weak. I suppose they come across as weak and incompetent. Yeah. But there's always a better way, right? You don't need a permanent solution to a temporary issue. Exactly. Yeah.
So, and is it part of the whole macho stuff that I know we've tried to break this down over the years, but I reckon it's still pretty prevalent, you know?
Well, I think it is. It's a tough guy industry, and I think the industry itself encourages that. It's the get it done attitude, but we need to change that because it's obvious that it's not working.
You need help with this, though. You
definitely.
Can't do it alone, can you?
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. So, like, I'm doing all this myself. I'm a very small drop in the ocean. I would like if there was someone out there that could help me to bring it to the next level.
And what's next level? What does next level look like?
Well, next level is basically getting it out there in the workforces and probably doing some big pre-orders so that we can bring the cost of manufacturing down.
Yeah.
So that we can obviously give more money back to charities.
And the feedback's been good. The blokes have donned the fancy shirts and things.
Yeah, no, everyone loves them and everyone loves the message behind them as well. So surprisingly, bigger uptake from people than what I was expecting.
Yeah. What's it like when you lose someone that you've been working with in the workplace to this sort of thing?
Well, it basically the whole company, from what I've found, is the whole company feels as if they wanted to help. If they knew there was a problem, they all wanted to help. But not knowing was what stopped them, basically.
So we need more on-site care?
Well, I think we probably need to incorporate it into the physical safety. So every company has a safety officer, but I think we probably need to incorporate it into the physical safety of things.
Yeah, or include the mental stuff.
The mental health and physical, so that it all comes under the one umbrella. Like we've got, every company out there will have at least one health and safety advisor. I think we need to upskill and train them.
You know, it's really smart there. It's really good advice because I was at an event recently and they had really good pastoral care. They asked us, are we okay with this challenge, whatever it was. And then they said to me, what about the mental side of things? We'll give you a call tomorrow, see how you are. And I've just been tested on something, you see. And the next day, a counsellor rang me to see if I was okay. I said, I'm fine.
Yeah.
Thank you for calling. So they follow it up, you know?
Yeah, and that's what it is. It's about knowing the signs as well, being able to see the signs and follow up on them and do something with them.
How tough is it right now, given the market? Because I know developers have sort of gone to the sidelines. They haven't gone broke, but they've gone to the sidelines with high interest rates. And things are a bit tight, right? So they've just pulled back a bit. It means that workers are facing fewer hours or are out of work suddenly, all heading to Australia.
Well, we're losing a lot to Australia,
yeah.
But I think for the ones that are here, we're facing a much... tighter margins, so there's still work out there, but people are fighting for it. So by that, they're dropping their prices. By doing that, they're putting more pressure on the guys because everyone seems to think the best way to gain back time is work a Saturday.
Yeah, and what's the answer?
Well, it doesn't work because all it does is put more pressure on the guys on the ground because they're away from their families.
You can't watch your sons play footy or daughters play netball or whatever it is they do.
You just miss out on your family time, which puts more stress on you.
So your message to blokes, one final message to blokes is what?
Is don't be afraid to reach out, talk to each other. A lot of times it's sharing experiences and kind of if you can get behind what we're doing and promote it and spread the good message.
And how do they get behind it? If there are people listening to this that want to get in behind the hi-viz and the colourful attachments you've got all over them, how do people get in touch?
Just go to our website, diamondworkwear.co.nz, and you can buy them online.
Yep, good stuff. Hey, nice to see you. Thanks so much.
Thank you very much.
Duncan Garner.
0800 863 293, bit of feedback's come in. Duncan seems like a nice guy. Now, I'm not sure if this is Alan or a man from Waitomo, both of them probably. Maria said to me, Duncan seems like a nice guy. This is around Waitomo. Very pragmatic, refreshing to listen to in the current market. Isn't it bloody refreshing, though, to finally get someone to say, cut out the bullshit and here's the price of petrol, Kalo. Like, here's the price of petrol and we don't need all the add-ons. Where do you buy yours, mate, Kalo?
To be honest, I'm probably a bit lazy.
Yeah,
and I just go to the nearest one.
Yeah.
So it might be Z, it might be BP, it might be Mobil. But to be honest, I have tried the app Gatsby before.
Oh yes, now I've heard about this.
Now it's actually really good.
Yes.
And I don't know. I think I just deleted it because I ran out of storage on my phone. But I'm going to download it again today after that Waitomo chat.
What does it do?
It shows you the cheapest prices in your area. So wherever you are, so it takes your location services, but it just shows you where the cheapest stuff is, and so you can go there.
Yep.
There are some places which I won't name, which kind of they say they're cheap, but then it goes through like a hot vindaloo through your car. Yeah. But the Gatsby is really, really good, and I found it really beneficial, and it surprises you what ones are the cheapest.
I had contaminated diesel in my car in the last few weeks. It totally screwed the car. Cost me $1,500. Contaminated diesel.
What was it contaminated with?
We don't know. But the mechanic said right through the car, contaminated diesel. So it came out of the out of the pump, contaminated. And I knew it at the time because it looked sludgy and horrible. So I stopped putting it in, and then the next day the car stops, and then bang.
Where'd you get it from?
I got it from a Caltex, but it doesn't necessarily. I mean, I don't know. I mean, that's all I'll say.
Yeah.
But that's what happened.
Oh yeah.
Not great.
No, terrible.
$1,400 it cost.
To get it fixed, $1,400.
Yeah, there's a little page I've set up. Just joking, but $1,400 for bad fuel.
Garner.
Okay, let's get some questions going.
3 questions from the Editor-in-Chief. 1.
Is this the biggest get out of jail free card ever? And will farmers ever have to pay for their pollution or carbon emissions in New Zealand? With National in charge, I don't think they will. I seriously don't. I have covered that question as a journalist since 1996, and each time it looks likely, it's then kicked into the too hard basket. National would much prefer to use technology to break down emissions rather than some kind of punitive tax to punish productivity on farms. National has removed agriculture from the emissions trading scheme, meaning farmers won't be punished or have to pay for their climate emissions. Instead, the group set up to absolutely nail farmers has been kicked a touch, and a new farmer-friendly committee, described in Wellington as a working group, has been set up to look at other solutions. Farmers could be heard just after 5 a.m. this morning chanting "Luxo, Luxo, Luxo," as in Prime Minister Christopher Luxon, who said it's early days, he still believes in climate change, but why rush things when ultimately it's the outcomes that matter, is what he said.
2.
Number 2, would you pay $50 for a pie? They just did in Hamner Springs at PJ's Pies. The crayfish pie went for $50, and they reckon they could have sold 10 or 20 more, but $50? Yeah, it is crayfish. Well, it's actually only half crayfish. The rest is creamy potato and leek. Now, if it was just crayfish, I'm told that it'd be $100. $100 for the pie. They want to try truffle and Wagyu beef next, and how much would you pay for that, I suppose? Who knows?
3.
Number 3, how do you stop boy racers terrorising streets in Palmerston North? 2 options. Turn up and take the cars off them, or work with them, open up the local raceway in, say, Fielding, it's called Manfield, I think, once a week, and let them do burnouts for an hour, then tell them, home to bed, please, boys. That's not going to work, is it? Change the law, get tough on these fellas, or disrespect. These are disrespectful to everyone. And when you take their car off them, which is a weapon, don't give it back. But send them an invite to watch it get crushed properly. Put some teeth into the law and stop the softly approach, which clearly has failed for the last 25 years.
Garner.
Okay, Fieldays. Dust off your red bands, dig out your swan dry. Fieldays kicks off in Hamilton today. It's a huge day in the farming calendar, of course. Farmers flock to this event to spot the latest primary sector innovations and exhibitions and all sorts of things. It's pretty exciting. Our mates and fellow podcasters, the Rural Exchange, have driven their John Deere tractor down to opening day to catch all the action. Host Dominic George from the Rural Exchange joins me from Mystery Creek. And I'm going to say, Dom, farmers will be cock-a-hoop this morning, won't they? Chanting National's name all day, removing ag from the emissions trading scheme. It's good news for them, right?
Morning, Duncan. Yeah, great timing, wasn't it, from the coalition government yesterday, right before the biggest event of its kind in the Southern Hemisphere. That was one of those ones that this is why this coalition government was voted in by a lot of people, and they've certainly got what they wanted in that regard. I've been trying to do a bit of reading about it, all the reaction. I tell you what was funny yesterday, the inbox started to flood in with, Dairy NZ, beef and lamb, decans, you name it, every farming organisation that we've got in this country came out applauding and lauding the moves from the government yesterday. Of course, there's the free pass aspect as well that you've been talking about this morning, that other people other groups such as Greenpeace have been saying as well. So, it's a really interesting one, this one. I guess we were having a chat about this last night. I think one of the interesting parts is good mate and producer of the program, Joe Gregg, who farms up in Marlborough, was saying, look, there will be a lot of criticism and a lot of talk about the free pass aspect of it. What you're saying is, well, the market will really dictate that. If it is the case that markets, overseas markets, which, let's face it, that's where the bulk of everything we produce goes, if they're not, going to accept New Zealand produce at a good price based on our what could be perceived as, let's say, a less friendly approach to the environment, should that be the argument, then farmers will adjust according to the market. No one's going to, cut their nose off to spite their face, right? So there is that aspect to consider as well. I mean, farms are businesses, and if we're not getting the premium price from overseas markets, then why would we bother?
Can we use technology to break down emissions? I mean, is the answer, because National seems to believe, and has done for a long time, that technology will do this?
Yeah, this has been the catch cry for a while.
Isn't
it was one of the big things. Yeah, we've been hearing about it a lot. This is one of the things that I talk to a lot of people in this space on my program, Duncan. This is one of the things I have sort of come to ask the question more often than not now. Sounds great, looks great. This could be amazing. When are we going to see it?
Yeah.
5, 10 years, it's the prototype phase, these sorts of things. I do get the sense, nevertheless, and this is where the interesting part of Fieldays in terms of the innovation comes in. So there has been, I would say, over the last couple of years, I think there's been a better, how should I say, a better, you can sort of see with some of these things that they're actually going to probably take hold in a commercial sense in the not too distant future. All right, that might be optimistic. And going on past experience, you might say, well, it's very optimistic. However, if I look at the innovation team and the awards, for example, for this year, so there's a record amount of entries. We've got like 63, I think. It's across 3 categories. And some of these things are, very impressive. And a lot of it, to go back to your original question, is to do with methane reduction. That's where a lot of the stuff is aimed at. So, whether that be, certain seeds for pasture growth that, when the animals eat it, and then what comes out in terms of methane isn't as much. I mean, you're looking at genetics as well. That's a big one that people are looking at the moment as well. So, look, there's a number of things that are on the cards in terms of innovation that are, I would say that a good 50% plus are geared toward that very issue, if not more so. But whether or not will we see it and when do we see it, I can't tell you.
I wonder if farmers are almost a taboo now in New Zealand, in the sense that the retirement age is almost taboo. You can't touch that. So New Zealand super, sort of capital gains tax, it seems like we can't do with that, so that's taboo. And then touching up farmers for their climate change emissions, almost we can't do that. Because you think about Labor in power for 6 years, they didn't actually tax them. They set up all sorts of frameworks to try and nail them, but they didn't quite get there, and New Zealand didn't give them enough time. So now National has done exactly what they said they'd do. I reckon these guys are almost, you can't touch them.
Well, when you look at it, what's the export value or dollar value? I think it's somewhere, I'm just trying to think about this off the top of my head, is something like 57.4 billion, I believe, was the 2023 export value for primary industries. She's a big player, and they've always been farmers have always been a great political lobby, you'll know this, right from the, going back decades. The farming lobby's been very, very powerful. It's interesting now when I look at the makeup, actually, of the coalition government. So you've got Macleay as the Ag Minister, and then under him, they sort of divvied it up. You've got Andrew Hogarth from the ACT Party, you've got Nicola Grigg from National, you've got Mark Patterson from New Zealand First. They've really... and there's a few others on the periphery as well that are what you'd call farmer friendly, who have got reasonable positions in this coalition government. So the intention was signalled pretty clearly, and it's what people wanted, it's what they voted for. This time last year here, man, the conversation was all about regulation. We're being regulated out of the game, and now we've got the situation where untouchable. I mean, it's starting to look like it. You've got to hand it to the farming sector. I mean, they fight, they scrap.
No, they scrap well. Hey, Dom, all the best, mate. Appreciate your time, and have a great few days, of course, up there. Good on you, mate.
Great to be on your show, Duncan.
Very
Thanks,
welcome.
Mate.
Good stuff.
Duncan Garner.
Yeah, I've been to Hogarth's farm too, Andrew Hogarth. Just had a fielding, went to his farm a couple of times, covering different stories. These guys are genuine farmers. They're not Queen Street farmers. It's gummies on, trampoline out the front of the little house, and cows out the back. And they do good work, and they've been representatives for the farmers. They've gone into this government, they've taken up, they've put their money where their mouth is, and they've stood for office. They've gone in there and they've got your back. What do we do about carbon emissions then? Do we pay extra in Auckland for driving cars? Is that the answer? TikTok, a few comments on there, Forrester?
Indeed. We got laughed at for paying $100 on a road trip in America. That's the difference of the fuel prices.
Oh, fuel prices, right.
Fuel prices. People saying, support our farmers. Agreeing that mental health is indeed a major factor in the industry.
Yep.
What would Prime Minister Garner do about housing?
Prime Minister Garner?
Prime Minister Garner, yes.
Oh, well, I do lots of things, but can I get back to you on that? Because there's only a certain amount of time, and I've got huge plans for housing. So
yeah, exactly.
Let me get back to you. But I'd give one to you, Forrester, off the top. Okay. Hey, would you pay $50 for a crayfish pie?
A crayfish pie?
Yeah, PJ's Pies in Hampton Springs.
Is it known to be good?
Well,
because I don't think I'd pay anything for a crayfish pie.
Well, a crayfish pie, it's half leek and half potato, right? So half potato and leek.
Oh, that actually does sound quite nice.
No, but if you have just crayfish, it's $100. But crayfish and potato and leek is $50. $50, they could have sold 20 more.
That's true.
Yeah. Kayla, do you think they should be kept? Prices of pies kept?
$5.
$5.
Be done with it.
Yeah, at $5.20, I feel a little bit ripped off with the 20.
Yep, I do too. $5, that's it.
Yeah, but you may not get much quality for that, but yeah. Would you get quality for $5? No, you get something crappy.
Well, they'll have to make it, because if Prime Minister Kaylo was in charge, everything would be $5.
Everything would be $5. The old kept Prime Minister.
It's the Slam Dunk.
Okay, now I don't understand why we are so apathetic. By that I mean why there is so much lethargy and complacency amongst New Zealanders that they can't change anything, that we're stuck with the status quo. Now, our government and previous governments, they rely on us being half asleep and lazy followers, but we're being screwed, and still we line up the next day to cop it again. Public lethargy is a sure way to give those established players carte blanche to do anything. And I, for one, am sick of us being screwed on banking, on food prices, on life-saving drugs, and now petrol. And when will we stand up as a true team of 5 million and say, bugger this, let's make some noise. So let's act by joining a Kiwi-owned bank. Boycott certain brands until they do the right and fair thing by New Zealanders. Shop around. Buy Kiwi-made where possible. March and get in their face for better cancer drugs. Going silent supports the status quo. Let's not die wondering, and let's stop cowering in the corner and sucking our thumb. Stand up for ourselves. Don't rely on this government to do our bidding either. I think it's clear that Luxon and Seymour are more boardroom than smoko room. Corporate shivers looking for a spine to crawl up, probably. And Peters, the mere mention of a smoko room sees him salivate. But who knows where his loyalties lie. Smoko room in election years, of course, in between, well, it's anyone's guess, in front of a full-length mirror, probably. So take the banks. The big four, Australian-owned, and we are their little plaything. We're their slush fund. They charge us, or they gouge us, just a bit more every day compared to what they charge their same Aussie consumer. They're screwing us. The big four banks, how's this, will take $10 billion in profit out of the country this year. In our worst ever cost of living crisis, the banks came in and said, thank you very much, $10 billion. Holy hecker! Which usually has an F in front of it. $10 billion. That's the government's entire tax cuts package, handed to the Aussie banks for 1 year, and they go out to lunch in Sydney and laugh and scoff at us idiots in New Zealand. Get your walking shoes on, folks, and bank with your feet. Move to a New Zealand-owned bank, Kiwi Bank, TSB. TSB are great. SBS, Heartland, Co-op. There are options, and they do exactly what the others do. It's cheaper. Why are we so loyal to a bunch of slick-suited, brill-creamed-up the yin-yang Aussies intent on screwing us? TSB will change you over right this morning. Just call them. The call centre standing by. With Petrol, do the same. Find a Waitomo outlet and pull the others the one-fingered salute for being too slow to drop prices, but lightning quick to put them up. Aren't you sick of getting screwed? On food prices, we lack competition. On milk prices, now I pay double what I did in 2012 for my milk because I buy my milk at the same place each time, and it's easy to compare. So I now pay $10 rather than $6 for two. We pay international prices. Remind me exactly what the benefits are of having Fonterra in our backyard. Where's the Kiwi share or the Kiwi price? You know, it's great having Fonterra, but where's the New Zealand kickback? Where's the Kiwi kickback? Fonterra are that big that if they basically, Fonterra are that big that if you gave Kiwis free milk every day, it would only account for 5% of Fonterra's business. 95% of their sales are offshore. So they could give it to us for free. They could and not even notice. New Zealand, we can do something about this. No more excuses. We actually can do this. So the time is now.
Garner.
0800 863 293 is the number. I'll take your calls. Dave. We got Dave. G'day, Dave. Hello, David. Hi, Dave.
Morning, Duncan.
How are you, mate?
Oh, another glorious day in New Zealand, my friend.
Yeah, it's great. As long as you're at the Waitomo filling up, you'll be fine. You'll be cheaper.
Yeah, sure am in the Waikato. It's glorious here. One point I want to make, though, about Tokoroa, real fast.
Yep.
The toilets are not so good here since they remade them.
No, those toilets in the car park are okay, aren't they?
No. They redid them. They're like 5 big metal tubes, and people have had to wait for the bus because they've got locked in the toilets. They are not good. No. The council spent millions of dollars on designing them, and they are useless and hot and smelly.
Well, I stopped there. Last time I needed to go for number 2s, I stopped in Tukatoa because I looked at those toilets from the road and thought, they look pretty cool. They're in the big tube.
Yeah. Well, they look cool, but I mean, I've gone down there and seen the bus stuck. And
yeah, but it's not the bus's fault.
Cutting in the door.
Well, have a quicker dump.
It's not the bus's fault.
Have a quicker dump, mate.
No, it's the door getting jammed. But I just wanted to touch on the farmers not having to pay their way. Trucks don't have to pay for potholes. We're charged out the arse at supermarkets, gas stations. We are a little country that is manipulated by big companies, and they just drain all our wealth.
Yep.
National want to make more wealth in New Zealand. You're right. Where is the Kiwi cost for milk and cheese? Why do we produce it here and pay international prices for things?
We're being I stand by everything I've just said. They could give us milk for free and they wouldn't even notice it. That's how big they are.
Yeah, exactly. They make millions and millions of dollars. But, I mean, I used to work for a Pack and Save, a main one right there in Hamilton, and the buyers used to brag about how they were screwing over places for, like, baked beans. They could buy a tray of baked beans for, like, $4 and then sell them per can for $3.
Yeah.
How is that okay? And now it lasts.
But how can Waitomo undercut all these other bastards when they're so small compared to all those other guys, and they are screwing them by giving us cheaper fuel? We need more of them. We need more.
Toilets.
Yeah, well.
They do. We do. We really do. I drive down. If I'm ever going to Rotorua, there's one at Adamuri. I always stop there and get my gas because it's one of the cheapest gas stations of the whole country.
And so is Hikawai. The Waitomo, which is at Hikawai, which is just before Tairua, Coromandel.
Oh, yeah.
I got petrol there. When it was $2.20 somewhere else, I got it for $1.80, mate.
The other really good one is the gorge just out of New Plymouth. There's one right out the outside of there. It's the best place to stop to get your gas before you head back into the Waikato, where the prices go up.
Yeah, they go up, all right. Just don't buy your petrol in Herne Bay in Auckland, because you'll need to take out a mortgage.
I'll be honest, I try to avoid Auckland as much as possible. Yeah. The roads are a nightmare. Everything's way too expensive. I go to buy an energy drink, and it's like $5.50 at the dairy, but here in Toke, it's $3.50.
Yeah, well,
why am I paying more for it up there when it's closer to coming off the boat there than it is here?
I could take
you further to get to me.
I could take you to the YMCA in Mount Albert where power rates have now gone to $6, and that's offensive.
Oh,
hey, a $6 power rate. Hey,
no.
I should lock myself in the Tukatoa toilet so I don't even go near them. Hey, mate, good on you, Dave. Keep in touch with us, eh?
Not a problem. You enjoy your day.
Good on you, mate.
Duncan Garner, live.
0800 863 293. Forrester, you've got something for me.
Saying arrogant coalition government is not what the people voted for. My long, loyal national vote is over.
Already? It didn't last long, did it?
Yeah.
Not your vote, of course, but that's what
I run the team at Money Talks. People only have time to survive, not enough energy to swap banks. I think that's true to a degree.
No. They make it easy. TSB is 100% New Zealand owned. 100%.
Yes. No, I know they make it easy. I think he's saying that the people themselves are just so caught up in life at the moment.
Yeah.
That it's actually quite difficult.
Well, come off social media for 2 minutes this weekend and do it.
People saying Kiwi Bank just got fined for overcharging its customers.
I saw that. In fact, the last 2 months, I've actually got some fees back off them. I've complained and said, why are you putting me into a debit here? You forced me into it. Now you charge me for it. Anyway, they responded to my email and they put the $15 back in. Sounds so miserable, doesn't it?
Someone else says, real talk, Duncan.
Yeah, exactly. This is real, mate. Thanks, Forrester. Thanks, guys. That is us for today. This will be available as a podcast on Rover shortly, or wherever you get your podcast. Thanks for your feedback and all your support. We've got the thank you to Miranda, Kalo, Forrester, and Zarina. Life is not a dress rehearsal. There is no curtain raiser. This is it. There's not another one afterwards. Well, not where I come from. It's still one of the best places on earth, our country. So have a great day and enjoy it. Take care.
That was Duncan Garner, Editor-in-Chief Live. Missed something on the live stream? Text Duncan to 3598 to listen back on the podcast. Want to get in touch? Call 0800 863 293.